Margaret, Raise the Vibration, back with another author interview for the book Raise the Vibration, a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. There she is. Oh my gosh, we did it.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Awesome. Welcome. It's so great. I'm so glad to have you here, Kristin. You guys, Kristin Westbrook, you see a little banner behind her, Calm City. This is the meditation queen. She is, yes, there you go. She is the meditation queen. She is so awesome. I first met her at the Giving Tree Yoga Studio as a client of mine, and we became fast friends very quickly. Entrepreneurs appreciate entrepreneurs, right? So it's so great to have you here. Kristin is an author in the summer section of our book, Raise the Vibration. So welcome, Kristin. Miss Incredible entrepreneurial spirit, just a pure free spirit of your own. I'm so glad to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me live today.
Thank you, Aunt Margaret. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm just in awe of you. I always have been. I think you're just so amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm so lucky and fortunate that I have you in my life, and that I'm in your life, and that you included me in this amazing project. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, honey.
Really
Thank you.
great.
I feel so grateful you're in my life as well, and so grateful that, my goodness, that these incredible people, yourself included, would just say yes to this crazy adventure. For those people who don't know about this book yet, have you been under a rock? No, I have been living this for 2 years, so it's been my life. I actually went to mail a book the other day, and for the insurance for sending it internationally, she said, well, how much should I put that it's worth? And I said, without missing a beat, 2 years of my life. So I was like, okay. So those of you who don't know about the book, it's so exciting. It kind of just dropped in. It's such a beautiful compilation book. 52 different authors writing their stories of resilience, something they overcame in their life in order to get to the next step, to overcome the hurdle, whatever they went through. And you know, Kristin, your story is so phenomenal. I mean, you are a helper. You are somebody who seeks to serve. You are a meditation teacher. You help people connect with a certain peace in the city, New York City, craziest, wildest, coolest, most vivacious city in the world, I think. But you're there doing your thing and providing such a service. And, when 2020 happened and the lockdowns in March started happening, I thought, how can I help? And the first thing I heard was get people to focus on what they already overcame, because you, I'll try not to get teary, have overcome so much. And I'm so inspired by you and your own personal story, everything you've overcome so far, and everything that's in front of you that you've put in front of you to create and make a difference in this world. And so, with that message, I thought, man, I know a lot of amazing people. I'm going to ask them to write stories. And I didn't know what I would make of it. I didn't know it would be a book. I didn't know really what I would do with it. But that was the first step. And people said yes. There ended up being 52 authors. And I thought that can't be a coincidence. So turned into a weekly guide for raising your vibration, just because that is what I absolutely adore. So I want you to talk about yourself a little bit, introduce the people who are reading the book, who are connected to the book, to know a little bit more about you.
Okay, so thank you, Margaret. Again, thank you so much. And you, just your presence, you raise the vibration. You raise people's vibration, just being around you. And I know for me, I've been just having the benefit of having you be a business coach to me, and a life coach has just like changed me in so many really, really wonderful ways. And even your Reiki practice, when I was, my story is about being diagnosed with breast cancer 12 years ago, and being able to sort of live well with breast cancer. So I now live with metastatic breast cancer. I've had probably now I'm counting 4 recurrences. And I live well with it because of a lot of the things that you taught me. And so, my story is about, you're welcome, thank you. I remember going to you and doing a Reiki session with you in 2012.
Oh
And
my
right
gosh, 10
after,
years ago. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
after my first recurrence, and it really changed me. It really did. I was shocked at the shift that happened in my life, and it happened because um, I decided that I was going to look at the positive parts of my life, and that in my story I talk about not wasting any precious present moments with thoughts about a future that hasn't happened yet. And I think that that's what, kind of causes us a lot of anxiety, and, it causes us a lot of strife and struggle when we don't really need it. Because if we're in the present moment, everything is okay right now, right here. Ram Dass
Mm.
said it. Uh,
Yes.
you know, and everyone said it. It's a practice to bring yourself back, and that's just what I want to share with the rest of the folks in New York City, and hopefully the country and the world. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're such an inspiration to so many. Anybody who knows you, you're just an inspiration for this very thing. And I don't think there could be a better person talking about meditation in the world, honestly. Like with everything that you've been through and your personal, like experiential wisdom around it. We all have personal stories. We all have things that we've gone through, and uh, for you to teach about being present and letting go of the fear of what's to come is so vital right now. And I mean, that's why I think that dropped in March of 2020 for me was we need to focus on what we've already overcome and just be together and celebrate life rather than fear all the things that could happen, because that is living in hell. And through meditation, I mean, you say that I have taught you things. You've taught me things too. And every teacher that touches our lives that we allow in a certain way, it we receive the way we receive the message is really our credit. So I just acknowledge you for being so receptive, not only to me, but all of the influences in your life, even the most horrific ones that you've been through, because that's what the book's about. It's about alchemy. It's about how do we
Hmm.
take what we have gone through and then extract the gold, extract the wisdom, the perspective that we can help another with, extracting the gold from the most undesirable, discardable experiences, the things that we want to just forget about and move on. And then when we do that, I know you haven't done that. You've extracted the gold, and because of that, you have access a depth of power in you that is like untouchable. Like no matter what life throws at you, you're gonna feel the pain and you're gonna feel the upset, but you're also going to step into it knowing that you can get through it. You got the community and the partner around you to get through it, and just the perspective that we just have this moment.
Yeah, I've been calling it lately mining for silver. So I'm like, always mining for silver. What can I find in
Yes.
this situation that is, that is positive, that can, uplift me, that I can, um, you know, that will raise my vibration. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important to be able to do that. And just learning that changed my life. And it was actually even before, sort of uh, had didn't have a lot to do with being diagnosed with cancer. It just had to do with like just the way I was sort of brought up to like
Mm.
see the negative in everything. And I
Mm.
really had to, like turn the ship around, really, really it's like a barge, a giant barge,
Yeah,
and
it
like
takes time, right?
turn it around. Um, yeah, I was thinking of something else. Oh, when I recently broke my ankle and had to have surgery. And it was a pretty intense ankle break. I broke it in three places, um, and I had to have plates and screws and things put in my ankle.
Wow.
And I kept saying to the universe, "Excuse me, but I've had enough. Like, can you
Right.
give me a break already?"
Yeah,
Like,
right.
but,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking other many other things besides this cancer diagnosis, but
Mhm.
So here's the broken leg, and here I am laying in the hospital trying to figure out, well, what is it? There's going to be a lesson here somewhere. This maybe
Yeah.
it's not even a lesson, but maybe I can. Maybe this is the way my life is. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm accepting. I'm going to accept it as it is. And what I learned afterward, and it always takes a little while after that thing happens to sort of figure out where it came from or why, but my
Yeah.
parents were here, and my parents stayed with me and my husband, and we had a new puppy. And they stayed with us for weeks to just to help me. And I
Wow.
wouldn't have had that opportunity to be with my 82-year-old mother
Mm.
that lives, 3.5 hours away. And so it was wonderful to be able to spend that time with them.
Isn't it incredible, like what opens up when we accept what we didn't want to happen, and
Yeah,
and just pay attention
yeah,
and look for the miracle, the possibility, the thing that we didn't expect, and just stay open. I mean, you're such an example of that. In my life for sure, of just staying open and listening. And your story is so beautiful. I can't wait for the readers to get it in their hands and just get the wisdom that's in it, because it's just, I mean, even starting with the pool image of you swimming, like that just stays with me. And that's the gift that we have with our stories, is like when we share our open hearts and our vulnerability and just dare to be transparent and be in our power of full ownership of who we are and what we've gone through. It is so infectious in the most empowering way to the other people in our lives who are open to that. And the name of your story, I love the name of your story.
mhm,
It's A Perfect Mess. I mean, this is what this background represents, a perfect mess. It's like all of those seemingly discardable or ugly aspects of our existence, or the things that we don't like. But when we bring them together, we see the patchwork, the beauty, the intricacy of the interlay of the different parts of ourselves, and that takes a lot of work. And I mean, your theme of your week, every week, you have the book now. The book is finished. We have it in our
mhm.
hands. Yay. Um
It's really big. It's
it's so
juicy.
it's so
It's
big.
yummy.
Who knew? I just gave it to the illustrator yesterday, and she's only seen it in digital form, and she was like, I can't believe how big it is. I'm like, I know. Like, it's crazy. And it's just like 5 pages for every week of the year. And every chapter has a theme, like something around being human that we struggle with. And for your theme, it just was so obvious after reading your story. I'm like, it has to be gratitude. It has to be gratitude. And I don't usually share the quote for every week. That we usually do that on social media. So, if you're not following Raise Vibration, check that out. But your quote, Wayne Dyer, who I absolutely just bless him
Yes.
and all the influence he did with his life and everything that he went, his beautiful, blessed, perfect mass, said,
Yeah.
if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And man, the wisdom in your story, I just want you to talk a little bit about, you have so many stories you could have picked. And this
Yeah.
is the thing that that blows me away, because I know the people in this book. I know most of them, I know very, very well. And I know the kind of resilience in these people and in you. And you have so many stories you could have picked. I mean, so many stories you could have picked. Why this one?
Well, I think, like you said, the image of the swimming pool. And I think for me, it was really the moment where I became friends with the new person that I was
Hmm.
going to be. Because, with something like a chronic disease diagnosis or something that sort of, makes you take a second look at your mortality. I mean, I was walking around like, oh, yeah, the world owes me something. Let me tell
Mm,
you, how come I don't have X, Y, and Z? And I'm not saying that cancer is a gift, because it is not. Like before I got cancer, I had problems, and after I got cancer, I had more problems. So
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
a gift. But for me, it opened my eyes in some ways to what I needed to change about myself. And that image of the swimming pool was, here I am swimming along, and it shocked me that I was just enjoying myself so much. and that it was like so happy. And the reason why it shocked me is because I had just been diagnosed and I was completely bald and I was going through chemotherapy at the time. And so it just was such a clear lesson for me that if you are in this moment, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, you have the ability and the capacity to be happy, um, if you choose it. And I
Absolutely.
know that, some people might argue that and say, wow, well, a lot of people are, having a lot of more difficulties and challenges than just a cancer diagnosis. That, they don't have homes, or they lost their children, or they, many, many things can happen to folks. But I still believe that in that moment, you can choose to uh, find happiness within yourself, no matter what the circumstances are. That's
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And I find that in telling the story and being so immersed in storytelling the last 2 years, especially with this book, that and telling my own story in there, storytelling is very powerful. It is a way that we process our trauma. It's a way that we share our wisdom. We let people stand on our shoulders by being vulnerable and transparent with what we've been through, where we failed, where we succeeded, and just hand it off and try and help somebody who might be going through something similar or might face something like that in their future. And what I found with the shadow part of storytelling is that we can invalidate our own journey by comparing it to others, good or bad. And it is, there is a saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And I think it's the thief of living, like true, like vitality, period. Because none of us knows what it's like to be in each other's shoes. Not one of us. And, I work with people of all tax brackets, people who've been homeless, people who are multi billionaire to the richest people in this world. And that has given me an education around what success is, what happiness is, what fulfillment is. And yes, there is a base level of us having our needs met and having that for us. And yet, if we are trying to compare our happiness to somebody we think has it better, and we're never going to feel fulfilled. And if we compare our traumas and invalidate our own challenge or try and make it so that we feel superior to somebody else because we went through this and they didn't, or they went through that and we didn't, like we can't even imagine, we miss it. We miss ourselves. And I just think that the way that you tell your story and this immersion, like in the present moment, despite the circumstances. And I love the pool because I'm a swimmer. When I do my laps, that's my meditation, my prayer time, my sending energy and love to all my loved ones and also myself. Just being immersed in that energy and I love the pool image. But what I really got from your story, and I connected it to the heart chakra. Every story, every chapter has a chakra. Yours was obvious, the heart chakra, uh, because it was so much about acceptance. And like you said, like there's so much suffering that comes from resistance. There's so much suffering that comes from, denying who you are or denying your circumstances or invalidating others or invalidating yourself. And so much of what I got from your story is the critical importance of acceptance and detachment. Acceptance and detachment. So if you, in your own words, since we have you here as the author of this story, uh, for the readers, what is the message that you want them to take from this story in your own words?
Hmm. Well, really, I think it is that you can be happy despite the circumstances, no matter what your circumstances are. You get to choose. You get to choose your thoughts. Um, you get to choose who you want to be in each moment and how you want to show up in the world. Um, so I think that would be, I actually really loved what you said, your personal reflection. Uh, you know, that about the detachment, and that's one of the major themes of the heart chakra. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think what you're pointing to too that I think is so valuable is this comparison thing or this thing like you can't be happy unless it looks a certain way,
Mm,
or you can't be happy because there are monstrosities happening in the world. It's like that's why we should own those moments so much more so that we can raise the vibration. I mean, that's why the title is Raise the Vibration, so that we can hold the highest frequency. And that frequency, we don't understand how powerful our own individual frequency is. I mean, when you walk into a room and somebody is like in a super negative, vicious place, oh man, it affects the entire room. Like one drop of vinegar in milk ruins the whole thing. Like, I mean,
mm.
it's our own personal frequency that makes such a difference. And so we don't need to pull ourselves down so that we hold the same frequency with the most horrific things happening in the world and feel like we're not doing enough unless we hold that. Quite the opposite. We don't we're not in denial of them, of course, but in order to actually help, we need to put that mask on first before we help somebody else, right? And we have that
Yes.
oxygen flowing through us, and then we can really offer a genuine symbiotic rather than a parasitic helping hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I want to just ask you too, I just get a little bit more about your process. I mean, the question I'm asking all the authors about the storytelling is vital because at the end of the book, it was Zia's. I don't think you know Zia, but Zia is one of the authors. She wrote the foreword to the book, and a dear friend of mine, dear sister friend of mine, and she was like one day she had this like brilliant moment. She's like, "We should put blank pages in the back of the book." And I'm like, yes. Brilliant. She's like, people should write their own story. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, this is how this book really got
Great.
written. Is like all of this like brilliant wisdom just kind of thrown into the same pot, and we have what we have. So at the end, there's a few blank pages for the reader to author their own story. And as we've already talked a little bit about storytelling, but I just want you to talk about your own story process of composing this and what it did for you or how what that experience was like.
So this thing that happened in the swimming pool, I have been talking about that for a while, and why I actually started my mobile meditation studio, um, and 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 how my meditation practice really informed me in that moment too, and that I think this practice of meditation. Um, Gives you, you're exercising this muscle to come back to the present moment, constantly come shift yourself back to the present moment. And I think because of that meditation practice, it was pretty natural for me to just experience this present moment without the rest of the stuff. In the storytelling, I like to, I'm a very visual person. So when I write a story, I'm generally looking at a picture, and then I just describe the things I see in the picture. And I think it makes for a pretty descriptive story and something that someone can
Absolutely.
actually visualize. So I'm doing that more and more with my own writing. And it was something that just sort of clicked, actually more recently, where I've been writing a lot of stories about things that have happened, and I just see this picture, and then I just describe the things in the picture and what's happening, like a little movie,
Yes.
and things seem to flow, and so that's kind of how I wrote this story and why I wrote this story. I mean, I wrote it for you, but
I am so honored. I'm so honored that you're a part of this book and I mean really this story for me is very visceral when I think about it because of the way you wrote it. And the more, I mean, well, that's the gift of meditation is like you don't have to sit still to meditate. You can meditate on the traffic or on anything negative in your brain. You can meditate on how much you love someone or while you're swimming or walking. And that's the gift of being present. And that's the way your story is written. I mean, you really take in the five senses. And Kristen is, she has this mobile meditation station called Calm City where she drives this beautiful vehicle wrapped. I mean, it's a wrap vehicle owner to another wrap vehicle owner. We understand, like, you can't miss us on the road, right? So it's this beautiful, calming mobile meditation truck, and you go in and you sit and you have this experience in the middle of a chaotic city, and that wisdom and the presence that you hold comes from everything that you've been through and how you met it, and the resilience you have because you faced, it's not a gift, but it's an opportunity, and you've taken opportunities every single time that I've witnessed in your life, and I've known you for a while now, to really step into that opportunity. So I want to just give you a quick opportunity because I want people to be able to find you, and whether it's in the mobile meditation or following you online and other things that you're doing. She's such a creative entrepreneur. So will you just share with us a little bit about what handles or websites or how we can find you?
Sure. So we are calmcitynyc.com. If you want to email me, it's hello@calmcitynyc.com. I also have co-founded a company called Myndset, Myndset, and that is self-care and mindfulness tools in a box. So there's a great gift to remind someone to be mindful, or to, if you're interested in a mindfulness practice, we have some really great things in there. We have a journal, some meditation cards. We have a little Thich Nhat Hanh book, how to sit, things like that. And that is
Nice.
mind setting, MYNDSETTING.com. You can also find that through the Calm City website as well. So
Awesome. Awesome. It helps when things are in a box, doesn't it? It's like we just want to
yes,
have this little neat thing where we're like, this is what we
yeah,
need. And it's such a great, it sounds like such an amazing way to start things. Like just to be able, if you don't meditate, reach out to Kristen and mindset, and look for Calm City as it's going around the city, or I'm sure on the website, calmcitynyc.com.
yes. Calm City NYC. And we've done a big tour with the City of New York. So we've gone to
Love it.
agencies like the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. We've been to the Department of Corrections.
Amazing.
We actually brought the truck to Rikers last month.
Woo!
Yeah, that was pretty
That's a
amazing.
big prison, by the way. Those of you guys who do not
Yes,
know New York City, it's
yes.
amazing. It's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, so we've been around the city to a number of different agencies, health and hospitals, and just really helping the people that run the city of New York. And that was kind of my dream
Mm,
for Calm City. So we've
yeah.
really been able to help people.
And help them, but also the ripple effect that goes into their lives and their work. Like it's measureless. Like you can't fathom the
Yeah,
difference of the impact. So, well, thank you so much. It's always such a joy hanging out with you and spending some time with you. I just love you so much, and I'm so grateful you were part of this book, and that it's now out there.
yay. Thank you too, Aunt Margaret. I love you too. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to actually get to spend this time with you. It's been really fun. And
Yeah.
I've been digging into this book, and there's so much wisdom in here, and you know, just it's so fun. It's like a little life workbook, where you can
Oh,
just learn all of this amazing, inspiring stuff about love, resilience,
yeah.
gratitude, just, and then even the stuff with the essential oils too. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
brilliant. It's absolutely
Little
brilliant.
vibe hacks. Like there, I mean, we have 52, the wisdom of 52 authors in this book. I mean, it just is so touching. Like I was editing through tears for months. I'm like, oh my, I can't, like my heart was like, I can't take this. And I'm like, I just feel like I'm just gushing all the time because it was such a beautiful thing for me to meditate on through the last 2 years. And Rachel Gale, who illustrated and did the layout for me so
Brilliant.
beautifully. I
Right.
I mean, my students know I'm a very nerdy person and I've written manuals and they're really boring and like, they're packed with information but not pretty. So this book is so pretty because of Rachel Gale. I'm so grateful she was a part of this project. So I love you, my
Awesome.
dear. Thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody, thank you for watching in live or on replay. And, until next time, keep raising the vibration. And you can find that book on raiseVibration.com or in the link in our bio. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kristin Westbrook.
Namaste. Bye.
Namaste.